What about people who live their lives trying to maximize efficiency? Basically, a drive-through at Dunkin' Donuts, and basically not relating to people, are living their life on the internet, for example, which is why, and I'll get to this later, which is why the woman, I call her a woman on ChatGPT, is able to relate. So I'm going to talk to you about a couple of ways to build rapport quickly and to live a relational life rather than transactional life. The first thing I described was totally a transactional life. Transactional life is detached, it's distant, it's not connecting, it's not empathetic, it's not warm, it's not caring. So I'm a psychotherapist, and in my first day with my clients, called the intake with my clients, they have to read a policy, one of about 12, that says therapy is a relationship, not a transaction. And I put that in there. One, it's now become my slogan. But two, because people of a certain generation, and you know who you are, have become so transactional and so detached and so oriented around remote life, internet life, remote everything, that they actually think it's okay to end therapy by text or email. Usually it's text. But the whole thing is that there needs to be at least one session in person where it's called a termination session, where therapist and the client talk about the future, talk about what they've learned, how they're going to keep going, the client, and creating a sense of, yeah, it's been a relationship. Sometimes it's hard to end a therapeutic relationship. But now I'm going to talk about broader stuff about relationship. And one of the things in being a relational person and a therapist, but also this goes for everything, is how to build rapport quickly. Not fast, not the idea of, instant anything, but the idea of starting rapport in a quick way. So you're at a party, you meet new people, you want to know a little bit about them. My ex-wife used to ask what I called resume questions, and I didn't like them. Resume questions is, what do you do? Where are you from? And usually, there's not much time in between these questions. What do you do? Boom. Where are you from? Boom. Da-da-da. All these questions with, is it interrogation? Are the answers really answers? Or is it just like, knee-jerk? But what would be a better way of doing it? What kind of personality, what kind of talents or strengths, let's say character strengths, that one has to have or should have to make that better? Well, one is empathy, intuition, spontaneity, humor, of course, curiosity. I'm lucky because I have those. So it just comes natural. And it can come natural in any situation. Talking to a cashier at a CVS, okay? My friend and I, Johans, we took an Uber the other day from one part of Cambridge to Harvard Square. The Uber driver was from Cameroon, which is a pretty unknown country for most Americans in West Africa. And we got into a great conversation with him because we were curious. We knew a little bit. Of course, he was surprised that we did. And we had a really nice back and forth. That was relational. What would somebody who's transactional do? Well, they'd sit in the back, because you have to sit in the back. They'd probably be on their cell phone. They'd probably be texting somebody or scrolling or something. But they would not relate in any way to the driver. That's not tragic, but that's disappointing. Because what? Because we could make a more happy, more harmonious, more calm, and in the moment, the here and now society, culture, if we didn't do that and instead found a way to relate. So if I'm going to teach you some basic steps for building rapport, here's a couple of things you don't want to do. You don't want to do resume questions. You don't want to ask generic, non-open-ended questions. And you don't want to come across as that you're better than the other person. Of course you don't want to do that. You don't want to be holding back. So it has to be common revelation, let's say, reciprocity. So here's some tips. Want to build rapport with somebody new. One, use your intuition about what they might be looking for, what the situation is. What's the context? Is it a black tie party? A dinner party? Is it an event? Or is it an informal thing? Or is it at a club or a cafe? Or just out in the street? What's the context? That makes a big difference. Number two, what do you observe about the other person? And we're talking instant observations. We're not talking about standing back. We're talking about in the moment. What do you observe? How's the person dressed? What's the vibe? You got to pick up on the vibe. Number three, curiosity. You actually want to know something about the person. We wanted to know something about the Cameroon and about the driver's background. How long has he been in Boston area? Does he like that? And some of the questions were generic, but enough of them were not. So we mixed. We presented two people, me and Johannes, who had some knowledge and definitely curiosity about his country and his culture. Number four, I think I mentioned empathy. So it doesn't mean that you're, crying in each other's shoulders or exaggerating it, but it just means that if the person opens up about something that's difficult, or if they open up about things that are exciting, you're going to show, some joy or some sympathy, empathy, either one or both. You're going to identify, if you can, with something similar. So the person says, I just got a new job, and instead of saying, how much does it pay? That's the exact wrong question to ask, okay? Or if somebody buys something new, and the first question is, how much did it cost? Instead of asking, what's its purpose? What do you want to use it for? So somebody tells you they got a new job. You should not ask, how much does it pay? You just ask about the job, of course. And have they done similar stuff? And then you might want to open up about that you're got a job that you don't like as much, or that you are excited, or that you're looking for a job, or you remember when you got a new job, something that's reciprocal, something that's on the wavelength. So being on the wavelength is really key. You don't want to hold yourself as better. You don't want to talk about things that make the other person envious. You want to stay away from any kind of thing that leads to envy. By the way, Wavelength is a great song from way in the past by one of my singer-songwriter heroes, Van the Man Morrison. Van Morrison, Wavelength. The number five. So you've gotten this far. Do you need to find something to take it further? Is there a next step? Let's say I'm not requiring that yet. That'll be in the advanced course, okay? Coming up with the next step. But I'm going to open up some options. One is, can I get you a coffee over there? Maybe you're standing away from the bar, or can I get you a drink? And you're going to go get the drink and bring it back. Or it might just be, what do you know many of the people here? I'm feeling a little left out. I'm feeling a little bit outside. I don't know a lot of people here. Do you? So you're getting a little bit more, let's say, personal. Let's say personal. And, you might say, I really have gotten into biking. I used to not be able to bike because I have arthritis, revealing something is difficult. I got bad arthritis, got a bad knee. I had to give up biking. So what I did was I found a trainer, worked on my knee, and I got a new bike. And, do you go biking? Do you like it? What do you think of the bike trail that we have, Well, I found that it's still got a lot of potholes. And Boston, people say it's a great, great city, and it is, but it's got the worst roads and the worst transportation and most terrible, traffic issues and times of the morning, days of the week, times of the day where traffic is terrible. So there's things in every city that we like, but I've lived in a bunch of cities, and I wonder, have you, And what's your favorite place? What's your favorite place in Boston? I happen to love Harvard Square and Brookline. I've lived here on and off quite a long time, but, you're trying not to say this in a way that would create envy or one-upsmanship. Okay? The word I was looking for was, rush hour. Rush hour. People don't drive very far anymore in the Boston area because they calculate how long it's going to take, right down to the exact minute. And then again, it's being a little bit transactional because what really counts is what are you driving for? I mean, if you're driving somewhere for a new job or to meet a new date or to go to a great performance, I think time is not quite as important as the content, as the value. I could say a lot about time. I'm going to do that in my advanced course on building rapport. So I hope that this has been helpful. And I hope you watch us again on YouTube, on our channels, Chutzpah and Soul. You see this shirt that I'm wearing? Chutzpah and Soul, Defending Democracy. And also on Mental Health Enlighten, because, by the way, I'm a psychotherapist. Stay tuned. More to come.